Hello, everyone. So I'm going to be talking about investing in food tech, and I'm going to be doing so through a tech-forward perspective. For the next 10 minutes that we're kind of going to be together, plus the Q&A later, I want to do three things. First, I want to introduce you what we do at Eatable Adventures, kind of our mission and what we came here to do. Secondly, I want to walk you through, because we've seen a lot in terms of investment globally and in Europe, but I want to give you a deeper dive into investment in Spain. And thirdly, I'm going to use these two things and kind of combine them together to give you an overview of our investment kind of approach and why we invest in the startups that we invest in. And you'll see it's very much driven by technology. We're very firm believers in technology. So our mission at Eatable Adventures is we want to build tomorrow's food system. But our mission goes way beyond just a business goal. We thrive in collaborative environments. So we think that the only way, and we've seen this before, but the only way in which we can tackle problems in this complex system, which is the food system, and this, which is deeply, it has a very networking form. The only way in which we can tackle problems is to communicate, because every action has a systematic consequence, and every action that we take in this very complex system is going to have an impact in someone. So we think that collaboration is the way, and collaboration and keeping the conversation flowing is the only way we can kind of take a step forward. This is one of the things that we are focused on, and then the second one is technology, and again, I'll be talking about that later on in the presentation. Our scope is global, and we think that the numbers speak for themselves. We have 10 accelerators right now, 15 government programs, and over 70 global alliances. Again, these are bridges that connect us with research centers, with universities, with other events to amplify our message as well, but with other incubators and accelerators as well. So we think, again, that collaboration is key, and this is the environment in which we thrive in. And then finally, we've launched our own investment fund, and this is to support ventures in the pre-seed, seed, and Series A stage, who are very deeply rooted in technology and who we believe are going to shape the food systems in the ways that we think. But let's kind of take a step back and let's think about where we're coming from in terms of investment and where Spain is in terms of investment. We've seen these couple of curves today a lot, but this is just for Spain. We can see that investment is growing, and especially in the food tech era. We see that there was a steady increase up until 2020, and then from that onwards, we see that the scope is more pronounced, and the investment has grown way more rapidly. In 2019 was when we launched Spain Food Tech Startup Program, which I think is relevant here. We can see also that the investing in agri-tech is still not taking off completely, and I also want you to see the difference in profiles in between food tech and agri-tech, also in comparison to delivery. So completely different investment profiles, also due to the nature of their business model as well. Let's kind of get the number of Spain, so investment in Spain. A lot of numbers here, but think about it. So this graph shows you the total investment and the compounded annual growth rate from 2014 to 2022. Okay, so this is the investment made in these countries over the past years. So we can see that Spain is in the 10th position, so it's the last one in this graph. But the number that I think is remarkable here is the growth rate. So Spain has grown very rapidly in the last couple of years, and the growth rate is almost double the ones that come in the second, third, and fourth places. So I think this is very important, and it does show that we're doing something right. So clearly, we also need to show that, and we need to stand up and kind of give ourselves a pat in the back, because we're doing something right. And this is the figure of Spain also in comparison to other countries in the EU. So if you see in food tech, currently we're 5th. So we're just 4 million behind. This is just for 2022, sorry. We're 4 million behind the Netherlands. And again, a key learning point here is that we are less noisy, if you know what I mean. We need to promote ourselves better, and we need to position ourselves better, because again, we are doing something right. And now we've kind of seen where we are. Let's see where we're going. And this entails a lot with the message of our company, of Eatable Adventures. So we've seen these problems throughout these past 2 days. So I'm not going to go a lot into them. I just want to point one out because it's going to connect with something I'm going to say later. The average age of someone working in the fields here in Spain is 61.4 years of age. 61.4. So in the next 5-10 years, our labor force in the fields is going to be, it's going to be practically gone. We need to make, A, people go to rural areas to work in fields, and B, we need to find alternative ways to grow vegetables here in cities. So this is again, it's remarkable. And our way forward is technology. So Beatriz was showing this. This is just for Spain. So agri-food is one of the latest markets adopting technology across the board. So we're very much behind in software and in pharma. The key takeaway here is that innovation in agri-food is largely incremental, although M&A is the leading way to acquire kind of disruptive innovation. And again, here, startups have a massive role to play, and we need to be with startups. Startups are agile, and we need to work with them completely. So that is what we do, and the potential in terms of technology is there. We have potential in upstream primary production. We have potential in mid-market food processing. And again, here we're learning so much from the pharma and the life sciences industries. So we've taken things like fermentation. We've taken analysis in genetics to bioengineer microbes and produce proteins of interest. We've taken cellular technologies, and so the technology is there, the startups is there, the startups are there, the collaboration and the willing to be collaborative is there. So we just need to focus on what each of us can bring to the table. And this is kind of our investment portfolio and the technologies that we're focusing on. So precision farming, biomanufacturing, novel foods as well, packaging to reduce food waste and food loss. We have a very interesting startup in the cohort of 2023, Biotocoat, who is using packaging, edible packaging, to increase the shelf life of fruits and vegetables. This is crucial. And also we look at solutions in the sustainable supply chain realm. To finish, because I only have 2 minutes left, I want you to focus on the last two examples that I have here. So Nebola and Miko, and I'm going to briefly talk to you about their technologies and their approach to doing things, because I think these are very smart solutions and the kind of solutions that we should be exploring. Nebola is a platform for producing vegetables that are high value, that have a high value added, and they are growing vegetables indoors. Right now, they're just focusing on basil. Spain primarily imports most of its basil. Spain, not just Spain, but the European country, we import our basil from Kenya with the sustainability implications that has. And what the Nebola team is doing is they're kind of growing these high-value vegetables indoors. But if you've heard kind of the news in FoodTech lately, you've seen that many of these indoor farming companies, startups in the US or across Europe, they're going down because they're going down massively. They're being forced to shut down because of their high capex costs. So what Nebola is doing is they're taking these, the team at Nebola is led by 2 engineers who have been working in the automotive industry for many, many years. And they're focusing on automatization, reducing unit economics of every single aspect of their supply chain. So that be energy, that be every single piece in their robotic system. And then finally, they're partnering with one of the leading universities in Spain when it comes to agri-tech, which is the University of Vigo, up in the north of Spain. And they're using also their R&D technologies, and I believe Stefania later will talk about this project in detail, but they're using smart ways of nutrient solution and smart ways when it comes to water to make these basil grow more efficiently, but also have better organoleptic profiles. So this is a very smart solution. And then Miko, the second one, is producing, it's a platform for natural ingredients. You might know that most of the ingredients, so that be coloring, flavor molecules, they're being produced synthetically right now. And many of the alternatives that are right now in the market are using GMO technologies to make these synthetic ingredients, with the regulatory implications that that has. Miko used a technology which is called directed evolution, so it's a fermentation which is kind of putting fast forward. So what it does is it accelerates evolution in microbes so that the protein of interest is expressed to select the strain, the bacteria or the yeast strain, that is capable of producing that protein or that colorant or that ingredient in a more efficient and in a more sustainable way, and also from a regulatory standpoint in a more interesting point of view as well. So these are two very smart solutions. We have more. We can talk to them about later, and I believe in the technology section that we'll have later on, we will be also talking about them. And that's it. Happy to share more later.
Beatriz and Julia, thank you very much. So,
Thank you.
rather than going straight into a Q&A, we have such expertise on the Bankinter Foundation board on these very issues. I'd love to call on maybe Sheila. You've worked on the boards of so many different companies, but what sort of opportunities do you see when you hear presentations like this, which is so dynamic and it's such a recent industry to come?
Well, the first thing that I would say is I'm excited to see the ingenuity in the investments and the promise that they pay. I think one of the things that we think about when we're looking for strategic investments going forward is the payout time and how long it will take to bring something scalable to the marketplace. And I do see these as long-term initiatives that can be very helpful in moving forward. So I'm very happy to see this kind of investment and startups and in midterm and middle market.
Well, thank you. And I wondered if maybe Wilfred, you have some thoughts as well from a different perspective. Doesn't hear. Okay. Phil, I wondered too. Again, somebody who has a huge range of expertise in different companies. Yeah. Absolutely fabulous presentations and very key as well to this mission we've been talking about with Spain. And maybe we probably have, yeah.
I just want to share, a little bit of a story that quite unexpected, a success story actually in FoodTech in China. And a couple of years ago, a leading VC invested in this company based in northern part of China and producing, this is very holistic rice and wheat, and it's recently got listed. And amid a very challenging capital market environment. So I think this, the increasing awareness and the capital market interest and investor interest in the sector, I think it's very encouraging. And I have to say that Spain has done a fantastic job. So once we had some conversations with the investors in Asia in the sector, and they said, actually, in Europe, Spain is doing really well. So I just want to echo that, and this is a fantastic presentation, and I think we should continue the effort.
Yeah, they were just wonderful presentations. I think probably have time for a couple more questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I learned a lot from your presentations as well. So I'm happy to hear that outside Spain, people are saying we're doing a good job. We have to start believing it ourselves as well. And I wanted to pick your brains on what you think we can do as a country in terms of nation strategy. Alex pointed out that Spain needs more collaboration and start thinking as a country and overcome individual interest of our different actors.
Okay.
So nice.
I would say collaboration, of course. Maybe when this ecosystem matures a little bit more, maybe we can start specializing. Because as yesterday was saying, maybe everybody doing the same at the beginning can have sense. But at the end, maybe some of the actors can be better on doing one thing and the other can be better on doing different things, or maybe because where they are located, it can make sense. And I think in terms of the different governments and administrations, I think we have to overcome some mindsets that are pushing away from supporting food tech, because there is the wrong believing that supporting innovation and food tech is against another kind of industry. So having that in mind, I have spoken with several politicians, and some of them have this, let's say, fear of supporting definitely this kind of industry, of getting other sectors of our economy angry with them because they are supporting us. So I think this is something, that kind of ideas of mindset that we have to push away from our minds.
Yeah, and just to build up on that, I think, so first of all, I think we need to keep doing what we're doing right. So I think we have the creative capacity, we have the technological capacities as well, because we have really good and top universities and research centers who are doing an excellent job. We need to have the support ecosystem that we're having. I think it's very positive that we're talking so much in between each other, and not just between startups and technological centers, but also with corporations and with governments. I think that's key. So keep doing what we're doing. And then in terms of improvement, I think we need to think even bigger. So I think we need to think scalability, we need to think internationalization, so we need to expand beyond our borders and kind of think of bigger solutions, because we have the capability of getting there. And again, in terms of technology, I come from a technological background, but in terms of technology, we do have the technologies. So we have the precision fermentation technologies, we have the molecular farming technologies, we have the cellular agriculture technologies. We have a very vast experience in extrusion in plant-based products. So again, we have the capabilities. We just need to make sure that the solutions that we propose are viable, and also that they're able to, the solutions are able to be exported into global markets. And I think that's the way forward.
Charlie,
just one
last question.
A frustration I have right now is this is incredible, everything we've heard. And I was going to ask Alex about, is there a U.S. equivalent to GFI? Policy.
Yeah.
Policy. I mean, mission authorization, these are the issues right now that the National Space Council, under Vice President Harris, is looking at. And we're getting ready to have a big public meeting, and the thing that challenges us all the time is trying to get American companies, and mainly American government members, to understand that we don't have a corner on the market on ideas. And so, I was just wondering if there was something like GFI in the U.S. that's looking at the Department of Commerce and the FAA and everybody else that's challenged with mission authorization. I'm talking about space stuff, but policy development that is going to be accepted by the rest of the world. We have a tendency to think we say Western, but what we really mean is U.S. That we want you to think like us and we want you to do like us, and that doesn't get it anymore. And what we're finding more and more is that the international partners who are signing on to something like the Artemis Accords, they're getting frustrated because they don't seem to believe that we're honestly looking for their ideas. So that's my frustration, and I don't know whether there's something I can take back home to kind of deliver a message or something. Because I haven't heard anything like this back in the States, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I think Alex wants to...
I can just reply. So the short answer is yes, GFI was founded in the US. We have a large team all over the country. We're talking to the federal government, but mostly USDA. So would love to talk afterwards and make the connection.
Great.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank
That was
you.
a wonderful, wonderful presentation.